3 weeks later, your state senator is putting a bill up in Albany to make changes. That's wonderful. Next speaker is Bob Friedrich. He happens to be president of Glen Oaks Village, and he also happens to be the president of the Council of Cooperatives.
Thank you so much. The first thing I want to do is really thank Mike and Laha for having this meeting, this town hall meeting. It really is very, very important. I am the president of Glen Oaks Village. We're actually the largest garden apartment co-op in New York. And I founded something called the President's Co-op Council. I did that a few years ago, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, because I thought it would be a great idea for co-op board presidents to have a mechanism in which we can speak to each other. We can bounce ideas off each other. We can troubleshoot problems. But it was very difficult. It literally took me a year to go co-op to co-op to get phone numbers and emails because managing agents do not want to give that information out. So it took me about a year to do that, and we created this, what I call a think tank, called the President's Co-op Council. And it's been enormously helpful. We don't get paid. We're volunteers. And we know that co-ops are truly the last bastion of affordable housing in the city of New York. Now, this problem that we're having right now is actually a problem that's been going on for a long time. And legislators have been up in Albany, but they have not addressed it. So maybe now we'll get them to address those issues. I will tell you a couple of things. There are a lot of legislators now that are jumping onto our bandwagon. It's a groundswell of support from the ground up. And you can be either reactive or proactive. 2 legislators, which is Senator Toby Stavisky and Dan Halloran, I am telling you are proactive legislators who are really out there fighting for the Now, if you live in a co-op, we are in for one rough ride. When the city announced these valuation increases, and Warren emailed me and started talking about it, we realized, Houston, we have a serious problem here. It's only in an Alice in Wonderland world, when we all know real estate values are declining, and they've been declining for years, that the city of New York would release valuations showing that our properties have increased double and triple digits in 1 year. We're talking about single-year valuation increases. That's what we're up against. And those valuation increases will lead to crushing maintenance increases, because the co-ops will have to raise the amounts of cash to pay for these taxes. So we are absolutely going to make sure that these are not imposed, because they will destroy our families, they will destroy our co-ops, and they will destroy the senior citizens who live in the communities who cannot afford these type of increases. Now,
there's I'm sorry to interrupt, but somebody's outside getting very upset. There's a white Acura with the license plate AGW 6449 blocking the driveway to somebody's house. So if that's your car, please go out and move it. Again, it's license plate AGW 6449.
So we have a real serious problem here. Now, as I said, the consequence of these flawed valuations will really lead to crushing maintenance increases that none of us can afford. Now, the President's Co-op Council really began this Queen's tax protest that really has gained traction. Let me just explain to you so you understand how it works. And I'm an accountant, so I do understand the complexity of how the taxes work. Co-ops, as we're told, are valued as if they were rental properties, which we're not. But the city and the state, by law, values them, creates a value as if they're rental properties. It makes no sense to you. It makes no sense to us. It makes no sense to people at the table. So in order to create that valuation, the city has this complex formula. But a key component in that complex formula is that the city has to go out and find comps, comparable rental properties. Now, if they find the wrong rental properties and plug in those numbers, the valuations skyrocket. And that's the problem here. It's left up to the Department of Finance auditors to find a rental property in order to create the valuation. Now, under law, the city has to use the values of rent-regulated apartments. So we, the President's Co-op Council, sent to the Department of Finance the rent rolls of Glen Oaks Village's rent-regulated apartments. Because, as I said, under law, they have to use those values if the co-op was built prior to 1974. So let me tell you what happens. I have the formula. I took the City of New York's Department of Finance formula for Glen Oaks. Glen Oaks Village, in the current valuation, has increased 1 year 86%. Crazy, we all know that. The city says that the valuation of Glen Oaks Village in this complex formula is $81 million. When I plug in the rent rolls of a rent-regulated apartment complex into that formula, that valuation goes from $81 million to $34 million. So what I'm telling you is that what the city has done is that they have used inappropriate comparables. They plugged them in the formula. Because the formulas are so complex, nobody knows it. They don't tell us where they got these comps. But if they use the numbers we gave them, it will bring down the valuation to some economic reality. This 50% number is an acknowledgement by the Department of Finance that their numbers are arbitrary, capricious, have no basis in economic reality. Now, as Toby said in an email to us, is that offering us a 50% reduction is like offering somebody a half a glass of arsenic. Well, we're going to get poisoned either way, whether a full glass or a half a glass. And that's the problem. We categorically reject that 50%. There is a long-range solution that we're working on, but right now, the solution is very simple. It really is simple. Simply take the rent rolls of the rent-regulated units, plug those numbers in, and we have solved the problem. That's the answer. We will accept nothing less. And I will tell you, one other thing that we're working on right now is that if the city does not do that, we are going to start a lawsuit that all the co-ops and the President's Co-op Council have agreed to participate. All the elected officials have agreed to participate. And we're going to force the Department of Finance to be transparent and open up their books, and so we can all see how arbitrary and flawed their numbers are. So we will do that. We have just begun. Thank you very much.